Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Murray Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, and we're coming to you from our studio at the edge of the Great Red Divide in Marseilles, Illinois.
Be sure to catch us on all the places you find your favorite podcasts, as well as Demcast USA. There are some amazing podcasters out there, and it's a great way to find them. So you can find us on demcastusa.com.
Yep, and Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com.
So we are continuing our series of Oust the Eight, and we are going after another senator in the great state of Arizona.
Arizona's own mistake,
Martha McSally.
You know, every time we start one of the research on these Ousting 8, and the reason we say Ousting 8 is we need to pick up 4 seats in order to flip the Senate from Republican to Democrat so that we can kick Yertle the Turtle, otherwise known as Mitch McConnell.
Or my word, Mitch the Bitch.
To the curb. So we'd like to get rid of Mitch McConnell. And there's 4 seats that we need, but there's really 8 senators that are super, super vulnerable. And Martha McSally is one of these because the people of Arizona didn't elect her.
Right. So she has a
Shady
reputation
past.
within. But I do want to hit on something before we go into Martha. I would like to remind everyone that the Senate is the most important thing.
Yes.
Because if we do not manage to flip the White House due to election interference, to whatever the case is, we will still have a lot more power in stopping the judiciary and bringing bills to the floor, in actually moving legislation forward if we have control of the Senate.
It's almost more important that we hold the House and flip the Senate. It's almost more important because then if we have to impeach again, we'll have the opportunity to have a fair and balanced trial. So ousting 8, why take 4 seats when we should take 8 seats? And there's 22 Republicans up for re-election. Let's get rid of all of them.
In a dream world, totally agree. I'm all good. I just want 4 to go. If we can pull off 4, oh baby, it'll be definitely a different situation in DC.
You know, if we pick up 4 seats, Murray, you know what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to send packing boxes to Mitch McConnell's office so he can maybe a moving company to help him move out.
No, I'm not paying. I'm not giving that.
I want him out so bad.
I do too, but I'm not giving 1 cent of my taken from the government bad money to go to anything. He's got enough money, he can move himself.
Well, he does, and he's got a lot of our money and a whole lot of Russian money. But let's talk about Martha McSally.
So Martha McSally started off, she is a veteran.
Yes, she is.
She was also a a House representative from Arizona's 2nd Congressional District.
Right.
So she had some experience in the federal legislative arena.
And she achieved the rank of colonel in the Air Force, and she's a combat veteran.
So those are all some amazing things, and we take nothing away from her service. We want to make sure all our vet fans know that we respect what she did.
It's not about her serving our country. It's about her disservice to the people of Arizona and to the people of the United States that we have a problem with.
Absolutely. She has a current record. So let's talk about how she got into power anyway.
Well, we had a Republican senator named John McCain who died a horrible death from cancer, brain cancer, correct? Wasn't it? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he died a horrible death, and he was the last remaining moderate Republican in the world, I think. The only one that hadn't been bought and sold by Donald Trump to a certain extent. I mean, some of his stuff was a little wishy-washy, but when it came to be counted, he stood up and was counted. And once he died, the Republican Party had no honor left. So with him, when he died, they needed somebody to appoint to his seat. And even though Martha McSally had lost her bid to run.
So very recently before the appointment, she had run statewide as a U.S. Senator, and she lost that race.
Lost handily.
The citizens of Arizona did not want her to be senator. So when John McCain passed, the Republican governor appointed... looking for a Republican, Martha McSally, seemingly like she would fit the bill. Veteran, woman.
Ultra conservative.
And that made a lot of the residents and the voters of Arizona pretty unhappy because there were other candidates that could have been options, and yet McSally was chosen, and it came on the heels of her losing that election. So it was particularly
Right.
stinging for
Right.
the residents.
It was like, we've turned her down once. Now we're stuck with her anyway. But that's
Exactly.
kind of how the Republican Party works right now. It's like they don't really care that that's something you don't want. They're going to give it to you anyway.
I'm gonna agree with you on that one. Absolutely, yeah. So she took office, and since she has taken office, she has voted with Donald John Trump 97% of the time.
Right, 97%. Can you imagine? She's just not.
She's as bad as Joni Ernst.
She's right of her own party. She's right of her own party because she's only voted 91% of the time with her party. But boy, Donald Trump, she's going to take to the 97% ratio. It's horrible.
She votes against the interests of her residents as well. Right now, there's a big controversy about the Grand Canyon. And she is not willing to protect
the Grand Canyon from mining. From gas exploration.
Yeah.
That was one of our first national parks. And with a long and storied history, and if you've never been there, pictures don't do it justice. It is surreal to see. It is incredible to hike. Probably some of the most wonderful hikes in my life have come in the Grand Canyon because it's very challenging. And the beauty is so stunning and so stellar that wanting to protect it happens at a visceral level because you know that this is something unique and wonderful that can never be repeated in
that's
nature.
already faced a lot of changes due to erosion,
yes.
climate change,
overuse,
and now we want to drill in it, and she's okay with that, which has a lot of residents
very upset. That's because that a lot of her supporters are from the oil and gas industry. A lot of her PAC donations are from the oil and gas industry.
Are you kidding, Heidi?
No.
You mean that she gets money from oil and gas?
She does. She gets a lot of money from oil and gas.
She also gets a lot from the pharmaceutical companies.
Yes.
She's a real popular one amongst Pfizer and Merck.
Let me tell you something. Since 2015, I'm going to look at my notes here. Since 2015, she has voted every single time she could to either vote against ACA or for that god-awful American Health Care Act that Trump Paul Ryan put forward that would have stripped health care from everybody with a pre-existing
And that was
condition.
when she was a state, or when she was a representative.
That was when she was a representative. That would have given junk policies license that, she voted against ACA and protections for pre-existing conditions and voted for American Health Care Act, which sounds really good until you realize that it's nothing but one giant junk policy that gives huge tax benefits to big pharma and big medical. So, and to insurance companies. She is reprehensible. Just one of her votes alone cost 44,000 people insurance in Arizona. Just one vote. Just one of the things she voted yes on. So the fact that she gets money from big pharma, big medical, and big insurance is no surprise to anyone because this is how she operates. I mean, running a campaign is an expensive
endeavor. It's an extremely expensive affair.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll take money from anybody. Literally, she has like no qualifications. There's nobody she won't take money. You want to drill in the Grand Canyon? Sure, I'll take your money. You want to take health care away from most of Arizona? Sure, I'll take your money. She doesn't care. She doesn't care.
And we find that to be true with quite a few of the representatives and senators who are fallen in line, particularly in the last 20 years with the GOP.
Wait a minute. I have a particularly heinous PAC I want to discuss.
Ooh, I love evil PACs.
Well, it's called the Winning for Women PAC. And here's the thing, Joni Ernst. You're a sexual violence assault survivor. Yet you won't say what you'll do about the violence against... Did I say Martha?
You said Joni Ernst.
Joni Ernst. Oh, I'm sorry.
She did the same thing. She was also a victim of domestic violence.
No, but
that's why we got our...
Sorry, I got our senators mixed up. But both Joni Ernst and Martha McSally were sexual violence victims. and both have voted against the Violence Against Women Act, or won't say how they're going to vote against it, or they use the possibility that maybe they can vote for the Violence Against Women Act. Maybe they could be persuaded to do that as a way to get people to vote for them. They haven't committed to doing one thing or the other. Martha McSally has never said how she's going to vote. She hasn't considered, if you call her office, she hasn't considered the idea yet. She hasn't stated a position on it yet. It's one of those pile of bills that's sitting there for Mitch McConnell to ignore. Violence against women is something, I guess, that is so happenstance.
Well, women were only there for men's pleasure. I mean, let's face it, we're nothing other than property, right? Because we're not even legal in the eyes of the law yet.
Right.
So basically,
so this women
pit bulls have more rights than we do.
Exactly. The Winning for Women PAC has put out this commercial that looks like it's all about empowering women, when really it's all about stripping your power. So don't fall for it. We watched that commercial and I thought, man, if I saw that commercial, I would really believe that they had women's best interest in mind. But they don't. Their whole ideology is to imprison women and to hamper their beings, their rights as human beings, to take away their ability to operate their own bodies, to take away their rights as sentient beings. So the Winning Against Women Act is horrible, or PAC, I'm sorry, is horrible. And Martha McSally gets a lot of money from them. Let me tell you who's on the board.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah. So, people ask me all the time, do you follow sports? Do you follow professional sports? I don't anymore.
She's
because
not a sports gal.
I used to be. I used to be a huge Chicago Bears fan, but you know what? The traumatic brain injuries kind of wrecked it for me. I was a Bears fan, and Dave Durson shot himself in the heart, and I thought, you know what? That does it. I don't need to watch him anymore. So, because he had a brain injury. All of my Monsters of the Midway, all my heroes from the 80s, all struggling to put coherent sentences together. So, I don't need to watch that. But I used to also be a Chicago Cubs fan until they were sold to the Ricketts. Todd Ricketts of the Chicago Cubs and his daddy, Joe Ricketts from TD Ameritrade, two entities I will not give a damn dime to. Two entities, male-run, that are so convinced that women have no ability to make choices for their own bodies. Forget it. Why am I not a sports fan? Because most of the sports teams are owned by old white patriarchy, and who the hell needs it, ladies? Shut it off. Okay. So but that's the deep dark money from Winning
the
Ricketts for Women. Yeah.
Are bankrolling.
Yeah.
The Ricketts men are bankrolling a women PAC.
Winning for Women PAC.
They're
not the only ones, but they're like the biggest, most heinous ones.
And that is putting out misinformation.
Right.
That makes it appear as if they care about women's issues.
They don't.
The commercial talks about violence. The commercial talks about health. It talks about struggles facing by women. And as Democrats, we're watching it, and you're like,
it looks like a commercial a Democrat would put out until they show Martha McSally's face on there, and you're like, well, we know what she stands for.
Yeah. So we have to be careful of that. Just like in California, sending out fake census from the GOP.
Oh, not just in California. The fake census is here in Illinois.
Yeah, and it's sent
everywhere.
Out. Yeah.
Yep.
So
by the Republican
Party. We really have to be critical thinkers.
Yep.
And not just take things at their face value, which is what Heidi and I try to do.
So here's another thing that she did. For somebody who is a high income earner, higher than twice as high as most of the people in Arizona, she voted against 3 times. She blocked the Paycheck Fairness Act. 3 times she blocked it.
Wow.
I know. So she doesn't care. I mean, as a congresswoman, as a senator, she gets the same as her male counterparts, but she doesn't care if you get the same amount, ladies, that a man gets for doing the same exact job. She doesn't care. She does not care. So the thing is when you're at a certain level, some women are at income levels where they don't have to care, or they're in a job position where it's not a problem. But, to block that bill 3 times, I'm appalled. I'm just appalled. So she also likes to do take money from non-transparent PACs, Marie.
No, are you kidding me?
So she's got one that she's tied to that sends her a lot of money, but where they're a transparent PAC, they get money from anonymous donors through their sister PAC called American Action Network, which is run by a bunch of old white men from Wall Street and big oil. So, it's just, I don't know. The thing is
speaking of PACs, I would like to mention here that Martha McSally's primary challenger is accepting no corporate PAC money.
Yet he raised $20 million.
He has $7 million more on hand right now than she does, and it's all been through grassroots, no corporate PACs.
And who would that person be?
That would be Mark Kelly.
The American hero astronaut, Mark Kelly?
The American hero astronaut, Mark Kelly.
Oh, my gosh.
Veteran,
yes.
Businessman. Astronaut. Husband of Gabby Lee Giffords, who was horribly shot
at a campaign rally.
Yeah. He's a pretty great guy, and he definitely is a better option than what we currently have with McSally.
Well, and the thing with McSally is Arizona has always been more of a purpley state. It's not really red or blue, it's more purple. And the independents don't like her. The moderate Republicans don't like her. The only ones that like her are the ultra-conservatives. And that
is such a small portion, which is why the people of Arizona... 20%. Yeah, which is why they're upset because they didn't want her.
They kicked her to the curb once before, and then she was rammed down their throats by the Arizona Republican Party.
And right now, Mark is up by 7 points in that race.
Yeah.
So he is handily. This is probably the safest bet for a flip.
Yes.
Unless something drastically changes. I would say that Arizona is a pretty safe bet that it's going to go blue.
And the people of Arizona deserve better than Martha McSally. Martha McSally has not stood up for the rights of the people that live and work.
She hasn't stood up for farmers. Now, granted, she doesn't have a lot of farms in Arizona.
Well, she voted against the Farm Bill
in
2018.
She did.
Yeah.
So she doesn't stand up for anyone unless it's big oil or big pharma.
Right. Big oil, big pharma.
Big insurance.
Wall Street. She loves to stand up for Wall Street.
Oh,
yeah. Well, that's the Ricketts. That's where the Ricketts come in. TD Ameritrade and the Ricketts family that own the Chicago Cubs. That's where they got their money. It's from
and what's
Wall
really
Street.
interesting is the sister of Todd is a huge liberal and a big Democrat and puts her money behind a lot of those causes. So can you imagine Thanksgiving at that house? Billionaires sitting around arguing politics while us peasants are desperately grasping for whatever crumbs we can find on the ground and hoping we can make our mortgages.
It's
fun to be a peasant.
I'd rather be a peasant than be a Ricketts any day. Or worse yet, a McSally.
Yes. Yeah, you got me there, girl. Oh.
Can you imagine?
So what can we do to help get rid of Martha McSally?
Well, you donate to Mark Kelly.
Donate to Mark Kelly. You can do that online. He has an Act Blue. Like, follow, and share Mark Kelly. Let all of your friends and family know, hey, if you're up for a little vacation, we're about to get a snowstorm here in Illinois. And it could be anywhere from 0 to 100 inches. Who knows?
They just like to scare us. I think we're probably going to get 2 or 3.
I don't know. This is the highest number I've seen, so we may get a good snow. But those of you who are flying out to Arizona because you want to escape, spend some time. Knock on a few doors.
Yeah.
Talk to your hotel clerk or the person maintaining your
Uber,
condo,
your Lyft.
Let them know that there's a better option out there than Martha McSally. And if you're really motivated, make a vacation out of it. Go do some canvassing for a few days.
Maybe I'll go see my niece.
Ooh. Niece, she's coming.
I would love to go see Candy, and I'd love to go see my little Ender, her daughter. So she's just darling. She's a horse crazy kid.
You can also make calls for candidates, no matter where you live, if you're not able to get to Arizona proper.
You do need to connect with Mark Kelly's
campaign,
and they will set you up that you can remotely text or make phone calls on behalf of his campaign. And all of us have these huge cell phone deals right now that I never hit my minutes ever. I have like unlimited. I could call all day and all night. So maybe I will for Mark Kelly. In fact, I know we will. We're going to set up a remote phone bank for Mark Kelly, won't we?
We
sure will. And you can come over here and help us. You can come right into our studio, and we'll all be
and we can
calls.
Do it together.
It'll be so much fun.
Mark Kelly is. Every politician has their issues, and everyone who runs for office, no one is pure, and we make that mistake too often, this purity test. Mm-hmm. But when you compare Martha McSally with her votes against women, her votes against farmers, her votes for mining, fracking,
her
big
votes
energy,
against healthcare,
her votes against healthcare,
and right now
against sensible gun legislation.
Oh my God! In Arizona, where they've had, let's face it, Gabby Giffords, a prime example of what happens when you don't have good gun legislation, gun safety. Nobody's advocating for disarmament. They're just advocating for safety measures. That's all.
And so when you have someone who's repeatedly voting against your interest, mm-hmm. who has been forced upon the public that didn't want her,
no,
she is prime picking. So let's make sure we get out and get Arizona flipped to blue, ladies and gentlemen.
I think that's a great idea. I would love to see Senator Mark Kelly.
Oh, that would be great.
A real American hero and
an astronaut. Come on.
So few people
aside from his policies being far better than hers, it's still really cool to be an astronaut. There's 10 in the world. I don't know.
Yeah, there's not many, but his wife was a pretty amazing politician and a good advocate for the people.
She was.
So, and extreme violence takes down those that are the best sometimes, unfortunately. And I think that they share that same ideology. He's had to walk that walk with his wife, with Gabby, while she tries to recover. She'll never be whole again, But
he understands those struggles.
Yes.
He knows what the repercussions are of
gun violence victims.
Of inaction, of bad legislation. He's firsthand front line, sees this, and knows that the citizens of Arizona deserve better. And our entire country does, because while they are representing the state of Arizona, mm-hmm. and that's their primary focus, they still take votes and make decisions that affect all of us, across the country.
And especially with the horrific policy on the border right now, Arizona is front and center for that. And Martha McSally has let down the people of Arizona with her votes every single chance she can.
Don't forget, she voted against giving humanitarian aid. She voted against giving humanitarian aid for the crisis at the border.
For refugees. That's not us.
That was created by Hair Fuhrer.
Yeah.
Hair Fuhrer. This is your state. You are impacted by this. And yet she's unmoved and unwilling.
Well, she has no children. Maybe that's why she can't be a mom. She can't be a mama. She cannot be one of us. Even though, but what I mean is whatever empathy that mama empathy that we have, she does not have. She doesn't care. You can be a mama, have mama empathy, and not have babies.
Absolutely.
But she doesn't have that. She doesn't care that there's, 7,000 kids in cages all across the country, separated from their parents. She doesn't care that they're overcrowding in cells of people being kept like dogs in a bad pound in Mississippi.
And she wasn't willing to give aid.
No, she wasn't willing to give aid, and we're talking about soap and toilet paper, for God's sake, and a damn toothbrush.
Right.
What is wrong with you, Martha McSally? What is wrong with you? You weren't denied those things when you served our country bravely. We made sure you had everything you need.
And when you were a survivor of domestic violence, there
were
were
there
support services there for you.
Yeah, we were there for you then.
That helped you, and yet you're going to not even take a stand on reauthorizing what has already been in. It's not not new legislation. It's not groundbreaking.
No.
It has been in existence and it needs a reauthorization, which Mitch McConnell won't bring to the floor.
Nope.
And Martha won't commit to voting in favor of.
She won't even pressure her Senate president to even bring it forward for up or down. Thumbs up, thumbs down. She won't even put it forward.
Susan, Joni, Martha, all of you vagina senators, it's time to start bonding together as women and fighting for us, whether you have $1 billion or you have $10, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. The Violence Against Women Act is not controversial. It can cross. It is not political. And yet we have turned it into something that is political.
And yet she'll sit there and say that she is working to end human trafficking. You cannot do that issue any service except lip service without reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act, period, end of sentence.
100%. So Martha McSally doesn't fall on my category nearly as evil as Joni Ernst or Susan Collins. But Martha McSally has got to go. She's vulnerable. She's takeoutable. And we can turn Arizona blue.
We should.
We will. So follow us as we get closer. We will continue talking. And
our next one coming up. Well, stay tuned because we've got another Ousting 8 coming next week.
We've got 5 more to be able to put out there and get you excited about it.
Right.
I would like to say one thing as we go into wrapping up. I want to say, Democrats,
that's us.
Regardless of who your candidate is in the presidential election, regardless of who you want to see lead this country, no, we all have to work together. And any rhetoric that we put out there becomes not only fodder for the opposition, but also damages us. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying don't put out information, don't question. Of course, that would be silly.
Be passionate about the candidate you picked to represent your...
As opposed to attacking the candidate that you don't like. But I do say, if there are legitimate concerns and tangible facts about things that you'd like answers to, please put that out there. That's how we further discourse.
Right.
But keep in mind that more important than whoever is sitting in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is the Senate. The Senate decides who gets to be in all those jobs surrounding that person.
Right.
We need to flip, and we need to be on the same page and work together.
We need to understand that in this presidential election, the people who are sitting in the Senate and in the House are going to debate and pass bills that they're going to send to the president to sign. No one's singular health care plan, no one's singular plan is going to get passed exactly how
no one's
written.
Plan for anything.
That's not how it works. We're not electing,
but it doesn't.
We're not electing an omnipotent wizard. We have somebody who thinks he is one right now. We don't want that. We want the sum total of the ideas of the entire nation debated and passed to the president to sign.
Absolutely, that is exactly what the ideal was behind the creation of our government.
Right.
And that is what we pray to get back to. And I'm not even religious here, folks. You know that. I never say the word pray. And
I do.
She does. I have her pray for me because my hand card is decorated. And I know when I get there, we've already talked. I'm the official greeter in hell, so it doesn't really bother me.
But I might be standing like, I don't know how I'm going to shape up at,
at the end of it all.
At the end of it all, because nobody knows. I mean, you can only do the best you can. And
we need to work together. We need to stop.
And you need to understand that a lot of this inflammatory stuff that comes up is not from a supporter. It's a Russian bot that's stirring you up on purpose. So let it go.
Let it go. I can't hold it back anymore.
You know what I do, Marie? Instead of responding anymore, something just really gets me fired up.
You put a GIF?
No. I do that too, but I just I block the post.
Bless your heart.
I just dropped the post. It's like I tried, and sometimes for some super right-wing pages, as you know, I like to just drop silly GIFs and
I love it.
And leave that there, and then I just don't respond anymore anymore because then the Trump nuts are just all going berserk because I posted it, and it gives them something to do all day, and they can throw slings and arrows at me. I really don't care. But when you see something about another Democratic candidate and you don't like it, just hide the post. I just hide it. And some people I unfollow for 30 days. I snooze them for 30 days because maybe they're just so focused on, let's pick somebody who's way down there. Let's pick Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, gosh.
Nobody is. But that would really irritate
There's like
me.
5, hey, there are 5 Gabbard gals out there somewhere in the country, I'm sure, that are big supporters.
Yes.
And I mean 5
total.
But
so if I see their stuff, I'm just going to snooze them for 30 days. I have a friend of mine that loves Amy Klobuchar. Loves her. To the point where it's so freaking annoying. I can't stand it. So I snoozed him for 30 days. After 30 days, Super Tuesday will be over. The voting here in Illinois will be over. We'll pretty much know if we're going to have a winner or a loser or everybody wins. What do they call that?
brokered convention.
A brokered convention. So we'll know that in 30 days, and then their stuff won't annoy me anymore. so because
please remember,
ain't nobody got time for that. I don't.
As much as you love your candidate, remember everybody loves theirs. If we can be passionate about our candidate, but yet respectful of each other. Don't get baited by those bots, those organizations, those Republicans who will call the caucus line to report and block the phone, jam the phone lines.
Right.
Don't get sucked into that. Promote your candidate. Walk for them. I'm official. I will declare I am supporting Elizabeth Warren.
Me too.
I will have her sign. I will call for her and walk for her. But I'm
whoever
supporting her
primaries
positive.
through,
We will get behind.
We're going to get behind whichever. We are definitely in the presidential race. Vote blue no matter whoever it is. If it's Bloomberg, if it's Biden, if it's Klobuchar. I know some of them I'm going to have to hold my nose. So, if it's Bernie, if it's Elizabeth Warren, that'll make you happy. Then we'll be right there. Stop it. You have to be happy.
Sorry. Okay.
That
was my whipped pop for some of those names. Tulsi Gabbard. Oh my God.
Okay.
So, go Tulsi.
But whoever it is, I'm going to have their sign in my yard. In fact, I'm going to have a super, super big sign in my yard. I have my Democrat flag flying out front. I am there. I'm knocking on doors. Hello, I'm here to represent Michael Bloomberg. Don't laugh at me. I really will do this.
And this ties into our whole Ousting 8.
Right.
Remember, flipping the Senate is paramount.
Right.
So if you're not excited about Tulsi Gabbard being the presidential nominee,
snooze your friend that is.
Snooze your friend that is. And then if she were to win it, make sure you're advocating for your state senators. If you live in Arizona, go out and fight for Mark Kelly.
Right.
If you live in Iowa, you've got multiple to choose from,
Mike
which
Franken.
we'll know about in a
Teresa
couple of
Greenfield.
months.
Those are my 2 favorites out there.
Sarah Gideon in Maine.
In Maine. Ooh, I like her.
So remember, down ticket matters too. And we forget, we get caught up. We saw that where people didn't get Bernie as their primary, so they just left the system. And I see that a lot, saying, well, if Andrew's not there, I'm going to leave. Or if Bernie isn't it, forget it.
The Yang Gang's smarter than that.
They're way smarter. But here's the problem. Is when you walk away, you're not walking away from just whoever the winner
Party.
is.
You're walking to the Republican Party.
But you're walking away from your state senator, from your U.S. senator, from your congressperson, from your state senator, your state rep,
from your school board,
from your county board.
Flip the ballot over and fill out the back.
PC is usually on the back.
Yeah, and your delegates. So don't forget that when you pick whoever you pick in the primary, that you also fill in for the delegates. Just the delegates for your candidate. Don't fill in for the others. But
and make sure that you remember that there's more at stake than the White House.
Yes.
There's more at stake than just the Senate. Every state is at stake, and it's all local. Politics is all local. So please, if you're not happy with whoever ends up with the nomination, go out and fight for other Democrats.
Right.
You can make a difference. We can make a difference, but not if we sit on our ass and stay home.
Yes, not if we sit on our ass, and not if we fight with people on social media. So stop it! From the mamas, stop it! or you're going to your room.
And if you don't, I'll have to do the sad puppy.
Well, she does sad puppy. I just whoop ass.
That'll be all we'll do for our whole cast. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you know why Martha McSally is a bad bet for Arizona.
Bad.
Mark Kelly, check him out.
Good.
Give him a shout. Look at him. Follow him. Like him on Facebook and Twitter. You don't know who you know, who maybe you went to college with or high school with or rear-ended one day. Who's in Arizona who might need to hear that message. So, no, we can flip the Senate blue and we can fight down ballot for every position regardless of who the candidate is.
Follow, share, subscribe to the Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com. And find us on
demcastusa.com. And we'll be back soon.
Take care now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.